And good morning. Thanks for joining us again. It's been a month since our last live stream. Um, I've had a few health issues, and support workers have been off ill as well. So it's been a bit of a long month. Um, there's a couple of things I want to cover today. Um, the first thing I want to ask is anyone who's watching this to please subscribe to this channel, hit the notifications bell so every time we do a live, you're notified straight away. And you can share this video with anyone you like. It's not copyrighted; anyone can use it. Um, as you know, I wrote a couple of letters off a few months ago in response to Dr. George Teleporis of the IAC putting out that cartoon which showed a person with a disability sitting on the toilet with his pants around his ankles and a support worker off to one side with toilet paper in hand. And he referred to support workers as bum wipers, and all they had to do was wipe bums and cut up carrots. I was appalled that someone in that position could show people with disabilities in such a poor light. It was absolutely deplorable. And to denigrate a whole organisation, a whole industry of support workers by calling them bum wipers. I was absolutely appalled. So I sent a letter off to Bill Shorten, didn't get a response, so I contacted his office. They couldn't find it, so I had to redo it. And I'd saved the previous letter anyway. So I got a response back last week, not from Bill Shorten, someone from the NDIS. Now, I don't know why Bill Shorten fobbed this issue off to the NDIS, because it was Bill Shorten who appointed every person on the NDIS board and onto the IAC. They're all appointed by Bill Shorten. So it's my opinion Bill Shorten should have answered that letter, not fob it off. I know he's a busy man, but this is an important issue. We are struggling at the moment with reforms. Nobody knows where we're standing because people are putting out their own agendas and telling half truths and deliberately scaring and alarming people on the NDIS. So the letter I got said that it was referred to Lee Van Poppel, who's chair of the IAC and a member of the NDIS board, NDIA board. I have not heard from Lee Van Poppel, and I'm really pissed off. Bill Shorten, you should have responded. You should have investigated like I asked you to. And in my opinion, Dr. George Teleporis needs to be removed from the IAC immediately and permanently. What he did was absolutely deplorable. I am still angry about it. But in the letter, I also acknowledged that 19% of the workforce of the NDIA are people with disabilities, which is fantastic. And I threw my support behind a national registry of support workers, including independent support workers. And for those people to have training and certain qualifications, like a Cert 2 or Cert 3 in disability services. But to just completely dismiss it and fob it off to somebody else from the NDIA, and I sent a letter to this person who responded, but I don't think I'll hear from them again. And I'm pretty sure that Lee Van Poppel will not respond. I think they'll just do the "I'll shut up and this will go away" trick. And it's not going to work. Not with me anyway. I fought my local council for 11 years for access to the CBD, and they kept thinking I'd go away. But I took them to human rights and I had a barrister to take them to federal court, all lined up, ready to go, and council backed down. So I won that one. I won't back down. I won't go away and I won't be silenced. George Talipora should be removed from the IAC. He pushes his own agenda. He has a lot of interest in different organisations. And for someone in that position of representation to do that to people with disabilities and to support workers, absolutely shameful. Terrible. So I'm going to keep going with it. I'm going to keep pushing it. And I've also contacted the EAC, Every Australian Counts, because they said they were going to do an investigation when I first sent a letter of complaint, because Dr. George Teleporis is the chairperson of that. And I've had no response in a couple of months. So I've asked sent them another email the other day asking what their investigation has raised and what they're going to do. So again, we'll wait and see what happens with that one. I'm not going away. I am so angry about what George Teleporis has done. Either he's dismissed or he resigns. That's the only outcomes that I'll accept. And I've had a lot of people contact me through social platforms saying that there's been many, many complaints against George Teleporis over the years, but for some reason they all believe he's bulletproof. Now, if you go onto the NDIA website and the IAC website, nearly half of the members of the NDIA board and the IAC are members of the AICD, Australian Institute of Corporate Directors. Now, is this a boys' club? I've looked into it. You can do a course which costs thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's like $1,000 a year just to remain a member. Now, the course that you can do through the AICD has no affiliations with any other learning organisation such as universities or TAFE. I've looked into it. It seems to be a boys' club. To get your name out there and get you recognised amongst the rich and powerful. That's my opinion. You can look into it for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Look into it. Because the members on the board and the IAC, they all proudly display GAICD, a graduate of the Australian Institute of Corporate Directors, which doesn't mean squat. And one of my last live streams, I was talking to I think it was Jason from Modtaz, about the access ramp on railway platforms and tram platforms in Victoria, where the ramp can extend um, along the platform and raise up and extend out to meet the train so people can get in and out of trains safely. I was so impressed with this device that I sent the information off to the New South Wales Minister of Transport. And I got a response back. And it was basically saying, we don't need that ramp. We have staff that can help people on and off trains, and we have ramps at stations that can be moved out when the train stops or on trains. And they've had very few complaints, and it works really well. Well, I call bull plop on this one. I know from my own experience getting off a train at Gosford Railway Station, I asked for a ramp. I was on the XPT. I organised for a ramp weeks in advance. Get to Gosford Railway Station, no ramp. So I'm standing at the doorway wondering what the hell I'm going to do, because I used to live in the Central Coast before I lost my sight, and I know there's a huge gap between the train and the platform. And luckily, a railway staff member, was walking out behind me, and they asked if I was all right. I said no. I asked for a ramp. I have mobility issues. I'm blind. I can't get off the train. So he grabbed me by the arm and he said, I'll help you get off. He said, just take a big step and you'll be right. So I took a big step and I went down between the platform and the train, all the way down to my thigh. Took the skin off my shins, and I struggled to get back up. And I've heard of other people having similar issues around train stations in and around Sydney and out in the regional areas. A good friend of mine had a 2-year battle with the then Minister of Transport, who then became Premier, that Gladys Berejiklian, where she said that there was nothing wrong and everything's fine, everything works well, there's no complaints. My friend gave up. He had health issues. He couldn't continue to fight. So nothing's improved over the years. Why should we have to call out for help and draw attention to ourselves? Why can't we be independent, getting on and off trains and using the railway stations? I know there's plenty of people in wheelchairs and mobility scooters who get to a railway station and they're met with a flight of stairs. There's no lifts, just a flight of stairs. So back on the train they go to another station, get off at another station where they know they can get to the street, get a taxi, then go back into the city where they needed to get off at the station 1 or 2 stops beforehand. Yeah, bring him up. We got someone who wants to come up. Good morning. You there?
Hi.
Hi, how you going? What's your name, sorry?
Thomas.
Hi, Thomas. Do you have anything you want to say, or?
No, I was just I'm interested to hear what the minister had to say.
The Minister of Transport,
Yes.
uh, he said everything was fine the way it is here in New South Wales. That
Right.
there's staff that can help people on and off the trains.
Right.
There's ramps at railway stations. There's ramps on trains, and we all know that's not true.
No, no. He's obviously in dreamland.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he said they have very little complaints.
Yeah. Well, you've got to be able to know how to complain and who to complain to, and then it has to be escalated up the chain, and often that doesn't happen.
No, no, and people know they can't use the trains,
Mm,
then they don't go to the stations and they don't use them,
exactly.
so they don't complain.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Have you?
you've had problems getting on and off trains, and
I do. I only travel to Sydney every so often, not that often. But I was keen to hear what he had to say. I think it seems to be a fairly global situation. I follow some of the discussions in the UK, and that's similar as well, where they've got lots of issues with accessible public transport.
yeah, well, I interviewed a young bloke in Victoria about five weeks ago,
Hmm.
6 weeks ago, and he's developed this ramp that it extends along the railway platform,
Right.
and it goes up and reaches out and meets the train. So it
Hmm.
goes, so it's level with the door.
Right.
It's all automatic, so it works off sensors that are
Right.
connected to the ramp and to the train, and it's worked exceptionally well.
Right.
And I passed this information on to the New South Wales Transport Minister, but he's happy with the way everything is.
Yeah, well, maybe he should try getting on and off a train um, as a disabled person, be it in a wheelchair or be it, um, being blind, whatever, and see how easy it is.
Oh yeah, and if you've been to Sydney and along the Central Coast,
Mm,
they're all old stations. They're all being
yeah,
built back in the 40s and 50s and
yeah.
60s.
And while some of the new stations may be a lot more accessible, they're not the ones that people are going to all the time. If you live out in the suburbs, then if you can't get up the ramp because it's too steep, or there's too big a gap to trying to get on the train. Uh, yeah, I just
That's
don't think
terrible.
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Even buses. Now, as well as being blind, I have mobility issues.
Hmm.
Um, got on the bus in Sydney. I said to the driver, I said, "Look, I've got disabilities. I have problems with my balance. Can you wait until I sit down before you take off?"
Hmm.
And there was sort of like a slight grunt. So I thought, oh, well, this may work. And I started walking with my wife down the bus, and he took
Hmm.
off. And
Yeah.
we both shot forward to the back of the bus, and both of us nearly fell over.
Yeah.
It's not just the trains, it's buses as well.
Hmm. Yeah. And there needs to be better driver training, but it's all good having the training, but then you need to be able to implement when people don't comply with the training.
Yes, yes,
And it's what I hear quite often, that people will say, "Oh, we need better driver training," but driver training is only part of the problem. If no one's monitoring the driver's behaviours, then nothing really changes.
exactly.
Mm.
I've heard friends that have gone down to Sydney, and um, there's communication issues because they're from a different country. English
Yeah.
isn't their first language.
Mhm.
Where they're asking for assistance,
Yeah.
and they struggle to walk away, or they say
Mm.
I'm too busy and walk away.
Yeah. Or the person you're talking to does English isn't their first language,
Yeah, absolutely.
like many
Uh,
of the bus drivers.
Yes, yes. And like you said, there needs that training, and that needs to be ongoing.
Yeah. And they almost need to have, like, how they have these, what do they call them, like secret shoppers. They almost need to have, secret passengers that when they get on the bus, they're actually monitoring the driver's behaviors and performance, and then sending that back to the bus operator, and the whoever, about the driver's behaviors.
Oh, absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely.
Mystery
It's
shoppers, that's the thing I was looking. Mystery
yeah,
shoppers. So you want mystery passengers who can, monitor what's happening, and report in, on a regular basis how drivers are performing.
yeah. Just do a score as they're going along.
Exactly.
Because a lot of the drivers put their foot down on the
Yep.
accelerator, and they're just as heavy on the brake.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Um, but you know, this ramp that's been developed in Victoria, they've tried it on railway platforms down there, and it's worked exceptionally
mm,
well.
mm, okay.
And I don't like asking for help. I'd rather be independent
Yeah, yeah.
and not
Get
draw attention to myself.
Yeah.
Um, but with the incident I had, I just didn't know what to do. I just stood in the doorway and I thought, how in the hell am I going to get off? Because I know it's going to be a gap, but I don't know how far the
Mm,
gap is.
exactly. Yeah.
And I was told by when I booked the seat, because I'm in Armidale,
Hmm.
when I booked the seat, they said, "Oh, if you go up to first class, and you pay the difference between your free ticket that you get being a pensioner,
Mm.
you go up to
Well,
first class, they'll get you something to eat and drink, and help you to the toilet if you need to, and they'll help
why
you."
should you why should you have to pay the extra?
Well, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But when I got on there, as soon as the train started, the staff member said, "If you want something to eat and drink or need to go to the toilet, do it now because I'm too busy to help."
Dear me. Well, I haven't had anything to eat or drink yet, so I don't want to go to the toilet.
So I sat in that spot for 6 hours and didn't move until I
Yeah,
got to Gosford Station.
yeah,
Um, it was a terrible experience.
yeah. I'm not
It really
surprised. Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Um,
But I must try and find out a bit more about these ramps, because they certainly sound like a good option.
I think um, the stuff that I've looked at and
Mm.
the interview I had, you could probably find them on this YouTube channel.
That's what I thought. I'd go and have a look and see, and just do a search for Melbourne, train platform, Melbourne plane train platform ramps.
Yes, yep,
Yeah, yeah,
and they're all
uh,
automatic. Like I
yeah,
said, they work off sensors.
yeah.
They work exceptionally well, but the response from the Minister of Transport, um, it was just really poor.
Yeah.
It should have been. Because when I wrote the letter to him, I said, "Yeah, you need to look at put some investment
Mhm,
money wise into this idea
mm.
and get it into New South Wales as well because it worked extremely well."
And that's the thing, if it works well somewhere else, why not look at seeing, well, let's do a pilot, let's trial it to see if it's going to work with our trains and our platforms, as opposed to just disregarding it.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly, and they could use it for the light rail and the trams as
yeah,
well. Now, like in Sydney,
yeah.
uh, but they just don't. They just don't want to do it.
No.
It needs to be addressed, and something
Mm.
I say to people: if we don't speak up, nothing's going to change.
No, couldn't agree more. Hey, look, I'll go and have a look for this ramp. But hey, look, thanks for posting your email. And I'm sorry you didn't get such a favourable response from the minister, the Pratt.
Yeah,
Okay. Hey,
yeah.
look, thanks very much anyway.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming
Okay.
up.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Okay, bye. Oh, that was a nice interaction. That nice gentleman. But yeah, I'm going to send a copy of that response from the Minister of Transport to Jason and Montaz in Victoria. I've got his email address, um, just to see what his response is. But yeah, so they're the two main things I wanted to talk about this morning was those letters. Also, I just want to talk about to I have an Apple Watch. I think I mentioned this my last stream, but on the health app, I was sitting at my desk doing some stuff with my support worker, and my Apple Watch sort of vibrated, and I put my finger on it to get it to speak out. Now, what the message was, and it said, "Warning: heart fibrillation detected. See your GP." And I said to my support worker, "Oh, Jesus, I wonder how long this has been going on for." So we looked into it, and it's been going on 2 or 3 times. This message coming up 2 or 3 times every time I've been wearing my watch, all the way back to March. So I rang my GP, and he said, "Oh yeah, they're not that accurate, but we'll put a heart monitor on you for 24 hours and see what happens." So I had the heart monitor on for 24 hours, and he got the results about a week later, and he rang up. And as you know, doctors never ring unless it's important. And he said, "Oh, yeah, you've had quite a few issues when you had the heart monitor on." And I said, "Oh, what do you mean by issues?" And he said, "Your rate was going like from 65 or 67 beats per minute up to 177 beats per minute, then dropping back down." So I got in to see the cardiologist pretty quick, which was good. They did an ultrasound, and they found that one of my valves is leaking. So they put me on a course of blood thinners um, and medication to slow my heartbeat down. And I've got to have an angiogram next Tuesday to to have it, the injection of iodine to check the arteries and see how much this valve is leaking. So don't dismiss these messages that come up on your Apple Watch. It might be nothing, but it might be something. You know, when my heart was, you know, picking up speed and getting quicker, most of the time I didn't notice it. Sometimes I could feel it thumping against my chest. And this has been going on for about 18 months all up. But it was only through this Apple Watch, the health app, when I got this warning that I actually did something about it. So please pay attention to it. See your GP. If the health app warns you about something, it's worthwhile. So yeah, please check it. And again, we'll end the stream here shortly. But once again, please hit that subscribe button. It's really important. If I get enough people on as subscribers, if I get enough people, then I can get monetized and I can get paid a little bit of money through advertising on this channel, and that's going to help me be able to provide the streaming service, because the program I use, it's what, $200 US a year, which is nearly $400 Australian at the moment. So at the moment, it's coming out of my own pocket, but I'm just like everyone else. Money's tight, and we're struggling. So please hit that subscribe button. select all notifications, and you can share this and even this channel with anyone. I don't care. It's free for anyone to use and view and share. Is there any comments in the chat there, Chris? No, nothing in there. Well, I know it may seem like I don't get many people through YouTube. Um, YouTube analytics aren't very accurate. However, I can get between 1,500 and 2,000 views through LinkedIn and a couple hundred through Facebook. So I'm getting out there. It's just the YouTube analytics that aren't very accurate, and I need those subscribers. So please hit that subscribe button. It only takes a couple of seconds. All right. Well, thank you for that today. I'll keep you all informed of my progress with Bill Shorten and the New South Wales Minister of Transport. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.